I'm Jody.
And I'm Allison.
And you're listening to the Blume Saloon.
It's a G to Blume book club.
Popcorn in my teeth.
I have bugle combo in my teeth. We've been snacking hard, guys. We're really super professional podcasters and we eat right before. We had pizza combos and Werther's pretzels and caramel corn, which is the most old lady of caramel corn. But Jody's got really good reasons for having these snacks.
I'm really proud of my purchases. Mm-hmm. As I was telling Allison, you know, when you go to get some snacks, but you're not hungry at that point in time, and there's like nothing worse because you don't want anything. You're like, oh, I have to buy some snacks for later. What do I get? So I was really deliberating, walking up and down the aisle. Then I was like, let's make these themed snacks. So I found caramel popcorn, just in honor of Carmela.
I love it.
Mrs. Miglione, or Miglione.
It's Miglione.
As we learn. We were pretty confident.
Yeah, but I was a little stressed out that we weren't saying it right. And then Tony corrected us via chapter 3.
That's true, but I think we should still keep saying Miglione because it's so much more fun to say. And what better name is there than Tony Miglione? I mean,
okay, as long as we clear the air that it is Miglione and that we are just saying Miglione, that makes me feel better.
Okay. And then the other snack I got, not to forget this one, is pizza combos because everyone knows the best pizza comes from Long Island, and that's where Tony's living. So,
have you spent a lot of time in Long Island eating pizza?
No, but all my New York friends tell me that's where the best place to get pizza is.
See, I think there's a big rivalry within the, Northeast because I've heard like New Haven and Connecticut has some of the best pizza too.
And they're different though, aren't they?
It's true. I think they're all pretty thin crust, right?
Yeah, but I think the way they do the sauce or maybe the way that they do the toppings is a little different. I think we need to do a special report on East Coast
size of the
pizza.
slice. There's a TV show on Viceland all about different pizzas in different places.
Oh, perfect.
So we just have to watch that.
Yeah.
And eat pizza.
I love doing my research via watching TV rather than...
Oh, for sure.
And never open encyclopedia.
Why would you ever read anything?
I don't know.
Oh, when you're at a book club and you're having a great time. Yes. That's when you read.
Yeah. So we already covered our first odd and end.
Miglione.
But we're saying Miglione.
It has to rhyme. It's just so good.
And then I wanted to circle back to the Flip Wilson show to correct myself because last episode I said that was a talk show. It's not a talk show. It's a variety show.
Excuse me?
And I actually watched a couple episodes.
No.
Finally got around to it.
Okay, tell me more.
It's pretty funny in a 1970s kind of way. It was pretty groundbreaking. You can tell that not many people were doing what he was doing at this time. He was dubbed TV's first black superstar. So he brought in a lot of African-American guests. Bill Cosby was on there a lot, but some really good ones. But he, the way he broached race and politics and just kind of some of the more controversial topics with humor. And, that's what skyrocketed the show to the top 3 for a few years in a row.
That's awesome. I feel sad that he's kind of forgotten.
Well,
was there a scandal?
No, but he's not as forgotten as you may think.
Oh, we're just ignorant.
No.
Okay, more.
I mean, yeah, but you know him through the phrase, what you see is what you get.
What?
I don't know if he coined it or he popularized it, but he definitely made that part of like the American lexicon. So everyone in the 70s was walking around going, what you see is what you get. Whoops, let me turn this phone off. Sorry.
It's also I feel like there's a good Britney Spears song.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. I think it's one of the B-sides.
Oh, your sister would know, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't think she listens.
Okay. And also, so the acronym WYSIWYG, when you're creating a website or doing anything with like layout and computer.
Yeah, WYSIWYG.
WYSIWYG.
Like when it's like modular and there's...
Well, it stands for what you see is what you get.
Oh, and so when you're editing that you're seeing it in real time?
Exactly, rather than code. Oh. And when that phrase was popularized, guess when? In the 1970s, when Flip Wilson was around, computer pioneers picked up that phrase.
That's wild.
He also popularized the phrase, the devil made me do it. Which I don't know how many people really go around saying that these days, but apparently in the 70s, That was the thing.
I feel like I said it a few times. Definitely made me do it.
And I think Flip Wilson could also be our spirit animal here on the Blume Saloon because guess where he was born? Jersey City.
No way.
It's all coming together in crazy ways. And guess where he lived later in his life? San Francisco.
What?
And he performed at a place that I know you and I have walked by many, many times on Broadway, the Hungry Eye.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. This is just wild. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
I love everything coming together. You know what it is? It's that crystal.
Yes.
That crystal is just making everything happen for us.
Thank you, Crystal, for bringing Flip Wilson into our lives.
The Flip Wilson Show.
What you see is what you get.
Just would like everyone to know that Jody couldn't figure out how to turn off the text messages on an iPad, so she decided to just put it in the other room. Like it was some kind of poltergeist.
Sometimes the path of least resistance is the way to go.
I'm just gonna
chuck it out.
Put it in here.
Okay, let's get back to our odds and ends. Allison, you have a really good letter to read us.
I do. I got a letter from someone who I might have called out in the last episode as having been someone I recently saw that told me that they were going to write a letter that had not written a letter, and I want to thank this person for writing a letter, and I'm going to read the letter. As a friend that you have maybe seen recently who keeps telling you that I'm going to write a letter but haven't written a letter, I would like to send this letter. I'm pretty sure I'm not your guys' target demographic, but I just want to say that the Blume Saloon has quickly become one of my favorite podcasts.
Oh, I love it.
I find myself looking forward to not only all the Blume talk, but for the discussions of all the tangentially related topics I didn't know I would connect so deeply with. Can't wait till I'm an octogenarian living in a future Margaritaville moon colony. As a recent college grad, I'm not too far removed from Tony's age. It's true. I think he's the closest person we know.
Wow.
I'd love to offer any insider perspective I might have on the inner workings of the middle school boy brain. So far, yeah. Wet dreams and an intense uneasiness and anxiety, definitely a thing. Keep it up, y'all. Royce.
Royce!
So, and then we got some PPSs and some PSs. P.S. For some reason, half the time I imagine Nancy Reagan when I picture Judy. I recognize this is awful. That is awful, Royce. P.P.S. Thoughts on Beverly Cleary? Question mark. If Judy Blume and Beverly Cleary were a team, who'd be Batman? Who'd be Robin? Or is this like an Iron Man / Spider-Man situation? Who else is in the Avengers Justice League of young adult novelists? Who is their supervillain? These are things you have to think about, I think, a little bit more. And then PPPS. Holy shit, Beverly Cleary is 101 and still kicking. You go, girl.
That was a great letter. Amazing. Those are some very, very probing questions. Mm-hmm. I would love to answer those. But yeah, first I have to look up who those superheroes were that you were talking about.
Oh, no.
I mean, I know Batman and Robin, but the others, they just like... I just can't... It's not that I don't like superheroes. I just can't keep up with all of them.
That is so funny. But yeah, the Nancy Reagan, Judy Blume, terrible.
They look nothing alike.
No. Oh man, I mean, my gut is telling me that Judy is the queen of it all, so she would like lead all of it. So which makes me think it's a little more of an X-Men situation, and she's a little more of like Professor X.
He's a leader.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the big difference.
She's like more like a Jean Grey or something.
Who's that?
Another cool X-Men lady.
So I think maybe we could figure this out this way. So Judy Blume to me is she's like kind of the pioneer. She goes boldly where no young adult writer had gone before.
It's true. I would say she's more bold than Beverly Cleary.
Beverly Cleary was like cherished novels.
Super solid all the way through.
but not quite as risque.
No, not pushing the envelope in the same ways that Judy was.
So can we think of two superhero people that fit those?
Yeah, maybe it's like a Batman Superman thing where Judy is a little more like
Batman.
Yes.
Yes.
And Beverly Cleary is a little more like Superman.
Okay, I can relate to that because I know who those two are. But it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, okay. I think that's a good answer. And yeah, Royce, I think we're going to have some questions for you.
Well, you said Royce said he was a recent college grad.
Mm-hmm.
So that would make him 22, 23.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Only about 10 years older than Tony Miglione.
Right.
Wow.
Like, I'm sure that his experiences are much more vivid
Mm-hmm.
in his mind than with anyone else we talk to.
So I'd love to make Royce our closest to being a pubescent boy age correspondent.
Oh, that's great.
That has a really nice ring to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, super smooth, rolls right off the tongue. All right, Royce, we're coming for you.
We're coming for you.
It's time for characters. These are all in order of appearance.
I always want to do roll call, like on the Mickey Mouse Club. Can we do that?
Yeah, do it.
Roll call.
Tony. Tony is 13-year-old. He's our main guy. That's enough of that.
There was a lot of bopping around going on there. I wish you guys could have seen that.
Can't hear my bounce. So yeah, we've got Tony, our guy. Then we've got Joel Huber. He's the next door neighbor boy, and we'll get into Joel Huber.
Oh God, fucking Joel Huber.
We've got Mom, Carmela, Dad, Vic. We've got Grandma. Eventually we see Angie and Ralph again. We've got Lisa Huber, who is Joel Huber's older sister. Millicent.
Oh God.
Who is the Huber housekeeper. Definitely get into that. Mr. and Mrs. Huber. We've got some new school friends. Marty Endo and Scott Gold. And we've got Corky, who's the skinny girl at school.
All I can think of are two Corky. The only two Corkies that I know of are Corky from Life Goes On and Corky Sinclair from Waiting for Guffman.
Exactly. And at work, every once in a while, I'll mean to write Corky and write Corky.
Wait, you'll mean to write Corky, but you write Corky?
No, quirky.
Oh,
like,
quirky.
Like if something is quirky
Yes,
or like funny
yes.
or odd, but I end up writing Corky instead.
Oh, that's like sometimes I try to write of, but I write OVE.
Like, yeah, like just one of those weird things that you just like can't help but do.
Your brain is just fucking going rogue.
And I think deep down I'm like wanting to say it's like Corky Sinclair.
Yes.
Yeah, so Corky's a skinny girl at school. She's also in the Bible study with Tom Gibbons, who is the youth pastor, the youth leader. And then Father Pisario, we know. I love how Tony has taken to calling him Father Pisario II.
Yeah.
Since he is the old Father Pisario's cousin. There's Mrs. Buttfield, who is the baby nurse.
Wait, isn't it Butterfield?
Is it?
I don't know.
Because I just wrote down Buttfield.
Wait, okay. You keep going. I'll look that one up.
And then we've got Maxine, who we'll get into.
Which one? Wait, I'm forgetting who Maxine is.
She's the scary new housekeeper.
Oh, yeah. Mrs. Buttfield. Maybe it is.
I need to know.
Okay.
It's Mrs. Buttfield, and they call her the Butt.
Chapter 3. The Huber kids are back from camp. If you remember, poor Tony was like the only kid in the neighborhood in Rosemont all summer waiting on his porch for someone to talk to. So finally he's got some friends. So they're back from camp, and all I can picture is they're back from like a wet, hot American summer.
Oh, definitely. Also, have you watched the trailer for the new
No,
season?
not the new one.
It looks really
That takes
good.
place 10 years later, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't
It
wait.
looks so good. Oh, anyways, okay, but yes, definitely they're at Hot American Summer Camp.
Joel, the son, he's in Tony's grade, and he comes over to introduce himself. He's very formal and forward.
So charming. He charms everyone.
How do you do, Mrs. Miglione? I'm happy to meet you. Very Nancy Wheeler.
Oh, he's such a little Nancy Wheeler. He's like Nancy Wheeler times 10. He's way worse.
Yeah. Tony can see that his parents are very impressed, but he is not. None of his Jersey City pals would have been caught dead talking like such a creep, I wrote down.
Oh, no way.
Not Frankie, not Little Joe, not Big Joe, especially not Big Joe. Tony thinks Joel is a creep and hopes that every guy in Rosemont is not like him.
See, I wrote down he's just a regular Gatsby, this guy. He kind of reminded me a little bit of like, like he comes in, he's charming them, and he's got this big house, and
yeah, I can see
everyone's
that.
a little like, ooh, who's this guy? At least Tony's family is.
Yeah.
Whereas like everyone else is a little skeptical, aka Tony is skeptical.
Yeah.
And then that line about, like, do you play chess? And Tony's like, no, I don't know how to play chess. And he goes, it's a good game. Maybe I'll teach you.
Ugh.
That line got me so good. And then did you have, I wonder how long Joel would last in Jersey City. About a week, I figure, if he was lucky.
And I really love when Joel goes over to Grandma. He's still doing his introductory rounds, and he sticks out his hand and he says, nice to meet you, blah, blah, blah. And she just laughs silently in his face. She won't shake his hand. She's just like,
it's so good. Grandma is so good.
do you think, okay, back to the laryngectomy thing. Do you think when a Larry laughs, like any kind of air comes out? Is it like
it's just air?
Like a dog panting? Have you been practicing your burp talk, by the way?
No, because I haven't really been drinking that much pop.
I'll make sure to get a big bottle for you next time.
Yeah, if you give me some Diet Coke in like a plastic bottle, I could do it for sure.
It has to be a plastic bottle?
I feel like there's more bubbles in the plastic bottles.
It's true, yeah. And you can like squeeze them too as you're drinking.
They don't
to force
taste
more
as
air.
good, but it's good for burping.
Yeah, I like cans so much better.
Cans are way better.
All right, so yeah. As Allison mentioned, Joel informs Tony that he's going to teach him how to play chess and invites him for a swim the next day. So Tony's pretty pumped about that. He's been eyeing that pool all summer.
He's been eyeing that pool. He's been wanting to hang out with a bro.
So he goes over to the Hoobers the next day, to their heated pool, by the way.
Yeah, it's like bath water.
In the summer.
I'm into it. I hate cold pools.
I think in the summer, a cold pool is very refreshing, and a heated pool would just seem like a kind of weird swamp.
No, I'm into it.
Okay. So they start swimming, but Tony's kind of embarrassed because he has on a brand new bathing suit, and Joel's swim trunks are kind of like grubby, he describes.
Joel sounds like a grubby little boy. Yeah. Like he's described as such like a few times. Like he's got shaggier hair. He's just like a little more grubby. Like I think intentionally. I
know exactly who he is. I know I talk about this all the time. Have you seen Made in Chelsea?
No.
There's this character on Made in Chelsea. His name is Jamie Lang. He's in his 20s. He's this rich kid. He is the 27-year-old version of Joel Huber to a T. And even his demeanor, his personality is very similar.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, we learned that Tony's mom had gone out that very morning to buy him new swim trunks just because she knew he's going over to the Huber's pool, which tells us a lot about Tony's mom.
She's very, conscious of this new class that they're in and wants to keep up.
Another British show. I'm so sorry. Did you ever watch Keeping Up Appearances?
No.
With Hyacinth Bouquet?
Excuse me? Someone was named Hyacinth Bouquet?
Well, her name's really Hyacinth Bucket. She pronounces it Bouquet, but the whole backstory is that she was from a working class family and somehow they came into money. The show is called Keeping Up Appearances. It's all about her trying to fit in with her new fancy neighbors. And she goes, whenever the phone rings, she's like, Bouquet Residence, lady of the house speaking.
See, the word bouquet really triggers me.
Why?
Because when I was in 6th grade, it was me and one other kid. We had made our way through the spelling bee. It was just down to the two of us. And I was up on stage and the word was bouquet. But the woman reading it said it in like the most southern accent ever. It said bouquet.
Oh my
And I was just like, parquet, bouquet. Like, I was not thinking about the meaning of the word and that it was really bouquet.
You were thinking of parquet the butter?
Yeah, I was just thinking of just like how it sounded
Yeah,
and
yeah,
how
yeah.
it would be spelled.
Phonetics.
And so I was like, Bouquet, and that lost it for me. And the kid that beat me was this kid, Joe, and he went on to win state, so I didn't feel that bad about it. He would have beat me eventually at some point, I think. But
You could have gone to state.
yeah. So it really stressed me out.
Allison, I'm so sorry.
Thanks, Jody.
So don't watch Keeping Up Appearances. You're going to have flashbacks every time she answers the phone.
Bouquet Residence. Lady of the house speaking.
After some swimming and some playing chess, swimming and chessing, Lisa comes out. Lisa, as Allison mentioned in our roll call, is Joel's older sister.
Hot older sister.
She's 16. She's curvy. She's wearing a bathing suit. She's tan.
After I was there almost an hour, the back door slammed and Joel's sister Lisa came out. She was wearing a bikini and was very suntanned, which made her hair look even lighter than Joel's. All I could think of was, wow. She was the best looking girl I've ever seen in person anywhere. She has curves all over. Turned away from the chessboard so I could keep watching her. And then, she flirts with him.
Yeah, she does. She says, hey, Joel, who's your friend? He's cute. Too bad he's not a little older.
And she laughed and just kept swimming.
She does a swan dive. She knows exactly what she's doing, that Lisa.
I love it.
So she's so loving the attention. She's doing all of her hot pool moves. She's doing her dive. She's doing her crawl, her butterfly, her backstroke, her side stroke. And Joel's just sitting there. Tony's just sitting there watching her.
So taken with her.
Mm-hmm. Joel informs Tony that he knows where Lisa keeps her diary. Tony's excited.
He's like, okay, I'm in.
But he's trying so hard to play it cool. Doesn't want to seem overeager. And then we meet Millicent. Poor woman.
It just made me think, the way that Joel talks to her makes me think of Will Ferrell in Old School. He's like, Mom! Like, what does he say? Bring me the...
I don't remember.
Something like Doritos or like something. And one's like bagel bites.
Werther's caramel popcorn.
Yeah. Mom, bring me the combos. Like, that's how Joel yells at Millicent. Millicent, we're hungry.
Exactly. Totally. He explains that Millicent's real name is some Spanish name that his mom can't pronounce, so she renamed her.
I'm just like, you're okay.
What
They're
a bitch.
all horrible people.
Oh my
The
God.
Hoopers suck.
They all, yeah. So Millicent, she brings out chocolate cake and milk.
Sounds great.
The chocolate cake sounds great, but milk on a hot day? Milk in a lukewarm pool. That just does not sound great to me.
Like, all sounds fine to me. Like, if I could drink real milk, I would love to drink cold milk and drink in a warm pool. I'm into it.
Okay, not to bring up Gummo again, but you know the scene when he's in the bathtub drinking milk and eating spaghetti?
I think I've only seen it once. It traumatized me. I don't remember.
That's all I can think of right now.
Ugh.
So Millicent, yeah, she brings out the cake and the milk and she tells Joel and Tony not to get crumbs by the pool or Mr. Huber will kill her. And then we get a sense of who Mr. Huber is.
Sounds scary.
Sounds like a scary man. And Joel's tactic for keeping the peace is just to never talk to him, basically.
Mm-hmm.
So this routine goes for a few days. We've got pool, cake, milk, chess, watch Leisha's swan dive.
More cheeky Lisa.
Oh, yeah, she's loving it. And then remember how we discussed Margaret's people's eyebrow when we read
Yeah.
Margaret.
Oh, yeah.
So Joel has the people's mouth.
He does. He does a half smile, and Tony's like, he's had to have practiced that. Like, that is such a crazy move.
Creepy douche smirk.
Oh, it was a little creepy little half smile.
Mm-hmm. And then, so we catch a quick glimpse of Mr. Huber. He seems kind of boring. He just seems to work and golf. And then we learn that Mrs. Miglione has become obsessed with the Hoobers. She's always asking Tony questions about them. Where did they go? What did they say? What did they do? Mm-hmm. She says, Joel has a face like an angel.
Yeah, that really got me because I'm always calling things angels.
Yeah, you are.
And so this line of, I don't know what angels really look like, but I doubt if it's like Joel. Lisa maybe, but not Joel.
I love that. And being from a Catholic family, he's really taking this notion of angels seriously. He's like, well, they're real. I don't know what one looks like, but I know they're real. So cute.
Exactly. I just like the idea of them.
You do personally?
Yeah, just like these, like beings.
Little chubby babies with wings?
Yeah.
Oh, so I'm thinking of cherubs, though, but angels can be grown-ups.
Yeah, I think of angels more as like light.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. It's just glowing. Just beauties.
Just beauties.
Just, glowing beauties.
Who doesn't love glowing beauties? Okay. And then school has started. And as a sidebar, Allison, have you noticed that all of the books we've read by Judy Blume so far feature a kid at a new school in a new town?
Oh my gosh.
On the first day of school.
Every single one.
Yep. So it's the first day of school, but Tony's not stressing. He thinks junior high is not that bad once you get used to the bells ringing and all the different rooms, having to change rooms for different classes. And then he meets two cool guys in homeroom, Marty Endo and Scott Gold.
Just some cool dudes that he's got some classes with.
And I
they're
think
just like, let's hang.
And he's relieved because he doesn't have to hang out with Joel for the whole time.
Not only Joel.
Mm-hmm.
Although they become like a little friend group.
Mm-hmm. And then at lunch, Joel and Tony meet up again in the cafeteria. And then Joel's lunch is described.
It's
foul. Amazing. So
yeah, well, like just number one, like so Joel always packs his lunch.
Right.
Because of let's hear it. Let's hear what these sandwiches are.
Well, it's because he's very particular about the sandwiches he likes. So probably poor Millicent has to make one of these two sandwiches that he likes. Mm-hmm. Number 1, salami, tomato, and mayo.
Which, like, sounds okay.
Not the worst. Number 2 is the worst.
It's so foul. I can't even get over it.
Onion slices on buttered whole wheat bread.
What?
Are these raw onions? Are these caramelized
That's what
onions?
I wanted to know, if they were raw or sauteed.
I'm thinking raw because when you say onion slices, that sounds like raw.
It's so foul.
And then it's noted that Tony thinks Joel must really enjoy breathing hard on everyone after his lunch, especially the ladies.
So
like,
Joel, it's just like more Joel being a creep.
Ew. Just one interesting fact about the cafeteria. All of the cashiers are 9th graders.
Yeah, it actually brought up some weird memories for me.
Some cafeteria memories?
Yeah, that sometimes kids did work. Yeah, there were cafeteria kids. I don't think that I ever did, but I must have been worried that I was going to have to, because it just brought up a lot of
anxieties.
Feelings. Yeah, and anxieties.
You didn't want to, is that?
No.
So is this something that you were assigned to do, or was it kind of like a job?
It was like a job. I think so. It was like kids, if you had trouble paying for your lunch.
Oh, so you work it off and then you get a okay.
But I was on reduced lunch, so I only paid 10 cents or something anyways. At least in elementary school. Maybe I wasn't in junior high.
Yeah. Tony describes how, since they're all 9th graders, they totally ignore the 7th graders. And sometimes they say hey to the 8th graders. But then he says something that I didn't know how to interpret this, and I want to get your interpretation. He says, next year, I plan to treat the 7th graders the same way. Does he mean that he
means he plans to ignore them. That he plans to, give the 7th graders shit because that's what he's going through right now.
That's what I originally thought, but I was like, oh no, I thought Tony was supposed to be a nice boy, but...
He is, but he's just not very mature.
Yeah.
To be able to look at that and think, I could actually just be nice to them.
I could
and then
buck the system.
That could make them really happy.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I kind of love that. And then he also joins the junior youth group at church. This is Father Pissarro II's church. We got to call him Father Father P2 or something like that.
Oh, TP2?
TP2? What's that?
Oh, I guess. I don't know where the T came from. FP2.
Okay, FP2. And Marty Endo is in the junior youth group as well. And also Corky, the skinny girl.
Skinny legs, quirky.
Quirky. Can we just call her Quirky, maybe?
Quirky. Tony says he hates skinny girls.
Oh, that's
That should also be
right.
mentioned.
Oh, definitely. He can't stand them.
Which is such a weird...
Different
thing.
time.
Yeah, and just also preferential, but then like skinny girls can't help it too. You know, it's just kind of like, wow, Tony.
Well, I think there might be two things here. So we, came up in like the 90s where it was like the Calvin Klein, Kate
Heroin
Moss,
chic.
skinny. Yeah, exactly. So like skinny was good, or at least, we thought. But in the 70s, I guess maybe a curvy bod was the
Sure, the boobs in the
fashion.
butt.
Mm-hmm. And also he's Italian. Not to stereotype, but don't Italian men like their curves?
If you're stereotyping and you're thinking of like Snooki.
Yeah, kind of. And then in the youth group, they make some fun plans for the year. They're going to start a basketball team. And remember, Tony's really into basketball. Corky wants to be a cheerleader. Or no, she wants to start a cheerleader club.
Right. Cheerleading club.
And then she smiles at Tony, but he doesn't smile back because he can't stand skinny girls.
Right.
And then Tony decides he needs some money.
Yeah.
Money.
Since he doesn't have a paper route anymore, he's feeling light in the pockets.
Yes. So he goes to tell his parents he's thinking about getting a paper route. And then his mom goes nuts and she says, "You're not getting any paper route? That's crazy,
That's
Vic.
just like, hell no.
Tell him that's crazy." Rah, rah, rah.
He loses it. Can't believe he would ever want to get a job. His mom has changed.
So fast. His dad's like, "Well, I guess it's time for an allowance." And then his mom's like, "Well, what does Joel get? What does Joel get? You get whatever Joel gets." And then they decide on $10, which is $60 in today's money.
Oh, wow. You did some number crunching?
No, there's just a website where you can look up inflation. So
But yeah, $60 a week. He's like, yeah, I think that's enough.
the chapter ends. Oh no. Oh God, we've still got more.
No, it's like the longest chapter in history.
Sorry. And then Tony describes how after school every day he's gotten into the routine of shooting hoops while Joel sits in the grass watching him shoot hoops. Creepy. And working on a stack of paperback books.
When at first I was like, what do they mean by like the paperbacks? Like,
He's,
I
like,
didn't
working.
get it. Like, there's a weird transition that happens where we kind of figure out that the paperback books are like dirty books.
Yes. And when he's by working on them, it means that he's like highlighting and paper clipping the naughty pages.
Yeah, like the passages that he wants to get a hold of the quickest.
What he does is underline certain passages and then paperclip those pages so it's easy to find what he's looking for. He showed me a couple of them one day. They're pretty good. Our gym teacher told us if we start to think about those things, we should keep our mind on sports, and that will help a lot. He told us about wet dreams too, only he calls them nocturnal emissions. I'm still not sure if I'll ever have one. When I read Joel's paperbacks, I can feel myself get hard. Ooh. But other times, when I'm not even thinking about anything, it goes up too. I don't know what to do about that. I mean, if my brain is working right, it's supposed to control my whole body. But if I don't have any control over that part of me, then what good is my brain? It's getting so that I don't have anything to say about what's going on. I think that part of me has a mind of its own. Suppose it decides to go up in school and everybody notices. Or at a junior youth group meeting. What will I do to get it down? I think from now on, I'm going to carry a raincoat with me every day. Then, if anything happens, I'll have something to put over me in a hurry.
That whole line of thinking is just like hormones.
Oh my God. I really feel for him. So Allison, after I read that, I called Tyler into the room and read it out to him. I said, "Tyler, can you relate?" And he was like, "Oh yeah."
Oh,
And he taught
Judy
me
did a good job.
some tricks.
Well, like what kind of tricks? Like,
He said that his school had a dress code where you had to tuck in your shirts. So it was pretty bad for a scenario when you get a boner because there's nowhere to hide it. So the trick is flip it up and like kind of tuck the tip of it in your like waistband, like where your belt area is, so it like flattens it. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I feel like I've kind of heard about this before.
I guess it's
Well,
just
I'm still amazed at how they even work.
how boners work.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in penises in general.
Yeah.
And so I think to me, if like you tell me that you can do that, okay, I believe you, because I have no frame of reference.
Right. Well, my only question is, well, you're in class and then you have a boner. How do you get your hand in your pants to like flip it upwards? And that's when Tyler was like, no, you do it through the pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that was that like malleable. Are you trying right now?
Yeah, like I think theoretically, if I had a boner in these pants, I could do that.
I can definitely see your fingers wiggling around in your pockets under your pregnant belly. That is a sight to behold.
It's too bad I don't have, like, these are stretch pants. I don't have the fly. Otherwise, I'd be sticking my finger out of it. Because that's how mature I am.
That's so good. So I feel like we're going to learn a lot more about boners and coping mechanisms. And maybe Royce, our correspondent, can chime in. And if any other males are listening and they want to chime in as well, like now is the time. Do not hold back.
Yeah, please write us emails about your boners.
No, I don't mean like write us about your boners. I just mean like if you have an embarrassing story or oh my God.
Anything you want to share.
Is that too much to ask?
blumesaloon@gmail.com.
So football season has started. Tony and Joel, they go to see every home game. They ride their bikes over to the stadium. Tony mostly watches Lisa. She's a cheerleader. And she wears red boots and a white sweater with a big R on it. And he says, I like the way her hair flops around.
Yeah, and then I highlighted what he said about Corky.
Oh, please.
Corky ought to get Lisa to teach her some other things, too. We learn, that Lisa is coaching Corky, kind of teaching her how to be she's taking her under her wing as a cheerleader. Because Corky looks like a 5th grader. Can't even tell if she's a boy or a girl unless she happens to be wearing a skirt, which is practically never. Her hair is cut short, she's really small, she spends a lot of time giggling. I'll bet Lisa never giggled in her whole life.
She's a mature woman.
You can just see it. It's just because Lisa is, older and more mature, just like Tony can't get enough of it. Meanwhile, like Lisa was definitely that age too, and I'm sure just as awkward.
I love that he gets excited because every now and then Lisa will like come over and she'll like put her arm around Joel and Tony and be like, these are my favorite boys, to all her girlfriends.
Totally
and like
teasing them.
And he's like, oh, she's touching me. And then one day, Joel and Tony go to the store for school supplies. So Joel buys some loose leaf paper, and on the way out, he grabs 3 flashlight batteries from a bin by the door, shoves them in his pocket, maybe to disguise his boner.
Tony, the old boner battery trick.
Yes. Tony is so confused and appalled. He doesn't know what to say, so he doesn't say anything.
Oh my God.
Were you surprised that Joel turned out to be a shoplifter?
I'm not.
Me neither.
What I found refreshing is that, Tony being from a place where people have even less money, much less money, was not used to this kind of behavior.
Right.
But of course, he starts hanging around with another rich kid, and that kid shoplifts and is bad.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I hate Joel Hooper.
Hate him.
Even though, I do think shoplifting is kind of a rite of passage.
Can we talk about your shoplifting story?
Okay, we can talk about my shoplifting story.
This is one of my favorite stories in the world.
So I was 5. I was 5. We went to a Walgreens. I was wearing a windbreaker with lots of zippers. It was the 90s, so I had a lot of zippers in it. And I really wanted this hot pink thing. It's just that's how my mind worked. I couldn't really read just yet, but I knew this hot pink thing.
You were 5?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This hot pink thing and this packaging just looked so cool. I thought it was probably gum or something cool and hot pink.
Uh-huh.
And so my family was like, no, you can't have that. So I put it in my pocket. And we left. And I forgot that I had done that. I was probably so horrified to even like look at what was in my pocket that I just completely forgot. Months go by. And then we go to the airport. I'm going to fly from Ohio, Cincinnati to San Francisco by myself. So this is pre 9/11. Like I was saying, it's the 90s. And my family is also taking me through security. And I go through the metal detector and I keep beeping. And they're like, honey, like, what do you have? You know, like, what's there? And I'm going through all my little zippers on my windbreaker. And I find it and I go, I'm just horrified because it's this thing that I stole from, like, the Walgreens. And the TSA agent starts dying. And she's like, ooh, foxy lady. And I was like, what? And turns out it's Foxy Lady Musk. It's like bizarre perfume. And my family just starts like dying. And I'm mortified. It was like the most embarrassing thing in my life. I've been caught, shoplifting. I have Foxy Lady Musk.
Foxy Lady Musk. And you're 5.
And I'm 5. So they let me keep it. And I put it in my pocket. And then I remember getting to my Aunt and Uncle's house in San Francisco and swinging in the backyard and just like being angry and like angry swinging. And I threw it over the fence. Threw that Foxy Lady Musk because I was just like, I can't believe I've done this. This has ruined my life.
The anger throw is the best. Oh,
I had to get it out of my life.
Have you ever just gone and Googled Foxy Lady Musk to see what it was?
No.
I think we have to.
We should. So, I mean, shoplifting is something I feel you have to do. But if you feel horrible about it, as you probably should.
Yeah.
I think that's normal. Joel Huber's a little shit.
Well, he's got his people's mouth. I don't like the phrase people's mouth.
Sounds bad.
His his douche smirk.
Douche smirk.
Douche smirk. That's hard to say too.
Douche smirk.
Douche smirk.
Oh, it's douche smirk. The annoying thing to me is that he like went and bought paper.
Right.
And just like grabbed the batteries.
He's just doing it for the cheap thrill.
Totally. It's definitely a cheap thrill. He has plenty of money.
That night, Joel is very insistent that Tony spend the night. He's trying to keep him close because he has a witness. He tries to entice him with promises of stealing Lisa's diary and his dirty paperbacks. But Tony, he's not feeling it. He's hesitant. He's obviously very stressed about what happened.
Stomach hurts.
Yes. Stomach pains come back. So he goes home and he locks himself in the bathroom for 30 minutes with stomach pains.
I'm really worried about him. I think he either has IBS or...
I was wondering, do you think he's pooping or is it just...
gallstone, maybe? A kidney stone? Or he's going to get an appendicitis.
Or an ulcer.
Could
be one of 4 things.
Yeah.
He's definitely got some morals. He's figuring out what he wants to do, but in the end, he doesn't do anything.
And the idea of Lisa's diary definitely trumps feeling bad.
Exactly. The parents are out at the country club. Lisa's on a date with a guy who looks like a monkey.
Oh, it's terrible.
That's all that's said about that. This part is so weird. Joel looks at his watch and says, I have to make a phone call.
This part was so weird.
So weird. And then they go into Mr. and Mrs. Huber's room because that's where the phone is. And then first of all, this bedroom has a round bed on a platform with steps leading up to it.
Yeah, and like a really low chandelier.
Do you think they're swingers?
I don't know, but it sounded wild. It sounded very 70s.
Exactly. And then Joel proceeds to make the lamest prank call I've ever heard of.
Well, he calls like 4 or 5 different numbers, just random numbers, asking for Denton F. Buchanan.
No. He's calling the same number over and over again.
I thought he was calling different numbers. Oh.
Well, he's repeating it so the person on the other end gets like frustrated or annoyed.
He's doing different voices or something?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then the last phone call he makes after like 5 or 6 times, he says...
He's like, I'm Denton F. Buchanan. Has anyone called for me?
And then he fucking like breaks into like a fit of like hysterical laughter. Thinks it's the funniest thing in the world. Tony's like, what are you doing?
He's like, this, what was that?
So
like,
weird.
You do this. And he's like, I do this every night.
Every night. But one like series per night. Because
he limits himself.
Yeah. Moderation. So Tony's relieved that he doesn't have to make a phone call because he was afraid Joel was going to peer pressure him into doing one. And then they move on to the whole diary excavation.
Yeah, they head to Lisa's room.
They have to sneak in because the only person that's home is Millicent, and she's in her room, but Joel is not allowed in Lisa's room, so they can't get caught. And then they lift up the mattress, but all they find is a note that says, "Too bad, Snooper, your sister's smarter than you think."
I love that note.
Yeah, that's so good. And so they're like, it's got to be somewhere. So they keep searching, can't find it. And then Millicent comes in.
What you doing?
Never mind.
What, never mind? I gotta tell on you, Joel. You're not supposed to be here. This time I gotta tell.
Joel shook his finger at her. Will you listen to that? Is she a good one? You tell on me, Millicent. You go ahead, then I'll tell on you.
What do you mean?
You know.
Oh, you give me a hard time, Joel. But someday God's gonna punish you. You wait. And I cross myself and I leave.
And then Tony says,
How do you know she's not gonna tell on you?
she wouldn't dare. She's scared of me. I caught her trying on my mother's clothes one night. If I tell my mother, she'll lose her job, and she knows it.
Getting to change my mind about Joel. He's not the kind of creep I thought he was when I first met him. He might last longer than a week in Jersey City after all. But the more I know about him, the more I'm not sure if I want to be his friend.
Ugh, neither do I.
Okay, chapter 4. Angie has the baby. On October 19th. It's a little girl. Vincenza. Vic McLeone is disappointed that it's a girl. Fat leg Angie had to have a girl. And they name her, Vincenza, after Vinny, just like Grandma wanted. Mm-hmm. And they call her Vicky.
Mm-hmm. I like that name. Mm-hmm. Vicky's cute. And the dad's name is Vic, so he should be flattered.
Right? At first I thought, they're leaving the hospital, but no, Mrs. Butfield, the nurse, is at their house, and she's kind of shooing everyone out.
Completely read over that. Okay.
Yeah, and they're in Ralph and Angie's apartment in Queens, and Ralph is offering everyone cigars, even Tony, and Carmela's like, you crazy, you can't offer him a cigar, he's 13, and Tony's like, that's disgusting anyways.
Yeah.
I don't want one. And he just wants to play basketball. He doesn't want to be there with this baby, because the baby looks like a plucked chicken.
He says that multiple times, right?
Yeah. All afternoon, I kept thinking, I could be home playing basketball instead of wasting my time in a stuffy apartment in Queens. It's really funny, the way everyone is so excited about a baby that looks like a plucked chicken. Maybe Vicky will get better looking. Then again, maybe she won't. Maybe she will always look like that. I feel sorry for her. But why should I worry? She's not my kid, right?
When I picture his like little inner monologues, I picture it in kind of like a film noir detective voice. You know what I mean? Like with like smooth jazz, like in the background. He was like, then again, maybe I won't. You know?
Oh my God, I love that.
Right?
If you think about it that way, it's really good.
Yeah. Okay, that's how
She
it
looks like a plucked chicken.
Yes, right. What do I care?
I love it. And so they plan to visit Ralph and Angie and the baby every Sunday, but Tony's always trying to get out of it. And the baby's nurse, Mrs. Butfield, she's there. She is staying there with them. She's doing these tough inspections, show me your hands, have you washed them? What are you doing? And then Ralph is like, I'm sick of your inspections.
Yeah.
Mrs. Butfield gets mad and leaves. And Angie just starts crying. What am I going to do? How am I going to take care of this baby by myself? So it's a whole scene. And then they get back to Long Island. Carmela decides she wants a maid.
Yeah.
And she's going to get one. And they get a lady from an agency, and her name is Gerta. But she cries a lot and doesn't do a very good job, so she doesn't last very long. Then they go through like a ton of different people.
Like 10.
None of them work out for various reasons. Some sleep in too long. Some grandma like shoos a lot of them out of there.
Yeah.
And then Maxine arrives on the scene. Turns out she's bossy, and everyone's scared of her, and they don't want to lose another maid, so they kind of just let her walk all over them.
Oh my God.
She shoos Grandma out of the kitchen, starts cooking all of the meals. Grandma gets pissed and continues to be pissed.
And I love that Tony's mom, Carmela, she's like, we got to keep her. We got to make her happy. So she buys her all new towels in Maxine's favorite colors, which are purple and brown.
Purple and brown? Whose favorite colors are purple and brown?
I mean, this was the 70s, but even for that time, that's bad, bad, bad.
Yeah, and then next night, you know, the father brings home a color TV for Grandma since she won't leave her room. And, you know, Tony notes that, you know, lately their mother and father think that presents can fix everything.
Mm-hmm.
That new money,
Mm-hmm.
buy a present,
Throwing it
everything will
around.
be okay. And if you ask me, they think more about Maxine than they do about Grandma.
I'm really, really feeling sorry for Grandma. She can't speak. She's not even coming down for meals. She's not going to church. Super depressed.
And I thought this passage actually really summed things up. One night, I walked into the kitchen while Maxine was cleaning up. I saw her throw away all the leftovers. Well, Mr. Big Eyes, Maxine said, what do you want? How come you're throwing all that food away? I asked. Who's going to eat it? Do you think? I thought in Jersey City we saved everything, including cold spaghetti. I made up my mind right then to study extra hard. The way my mother and father are throwing money around, I figure there won't be anything left by the time I'm ready for college.
Oh.
If I decide to go, I'll need a full scholarship.
Oh,
So Tony is like the most sane person.
he is, and he's too young to be worried about that kind of stuff.
I know. With all of the money that Tony is saving on his allowance, he buys a chess set, and he teaches his father how to play. Turns out Dad loves it, because Dad hasn't really been tinkering. He just works, you know, like his job is tinkering now. And then Father Pizarro swings by to see Grandma, who has not been to church because she won't even leave her room. And, you know, they go upstairs, and Carmela's like, Mom, you know, Father Pizarro's here to see you. It's real in and out. You don't know what happens.
Poker face. Carmela's afraid that Grandma's going to say something embarrassing or bad.
Right? We don't know what happens. We don't know what was said.
Question. So she's doing her confession, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so how does she confess? Does she write it down?
That's what I figure. She writes it down and, like, slips it.
Poke it through the holes of the
That's
screen?
and she, like, rolls it up.
In a little tube.
We also learned that Tony's been wearing his raincoat every day.
Yes.
Even in warm weather. Makes me think he's been getting a lot of boners. And Mom's starting to get a little suspicious about this raincoat, too.
Because what time of year is this? It's still kind of late summer, so...
Yeah, but it's sunny.
Yeah, there's no rain.
No. And then Tony catches Joel stealing apples from the cafeteria.
What a fucker.
And Tony fantasizes about telling on Joel, but he doesn't do anything. And instead, he just gets a really awful bellyache. Pain returns a few nights later. But it goes away when Tony realizes that he can see right out his window into Lisa's window. And right now, she's undressing.
Oh.
And that's where we end. That's where we leave you.
Not that I want to like hear a whole lot about Lisa undressing, but come on now.
What a cliffhanger.
There is one part though. Can we just talk really quick about the scene where they're in school? Tony goes into the bathroom and finds Joel dancing on the sinks.
That was just like baffling to me. I don't even know what's going on in the bathroom.
He's crazy. Like this and his weird non-funny prank calls. He's a little unhinged.
Is very unhinged. I look forward to more Joel antics.
Yeah.
And Tony is definitely going to get caught spying on Lisa, right? But is she going to like it?
He's going to get caught, but I think she's going to let it happen.
Ooh.
Like, I feel like there's like a million movies, like teen movies where...
Oh, yeah. Super stereotypical.
Yeah.
Like undressing, but I don't know. But I know.
That's it.
That's it. Well, thank you, Royce, for writing us a letter. Thank you, Jody, for the combos and the Werther's caramel corn and pretzels that were delicious.
And thank you, Tyler Barber, for our theme song.
Oh my gosh, Tyler Barber, thank you so much. And write us an email at bloomsaloon@gmail.com and visit our website and rate and review us on iTunes.
We want more people to listen to us. We want to spread the word. And the only way iTunes is going to bump us up in their algorithm is with more ratings and reviews. It's a hard, cold fact. We can't just sit there and write our own reviews.
It's
I mean,
science.
we could.
You heard Jody say it. Algorithms.
Yeah. And remember, you can get a pin out of it.
It's true. Royce, you're getting a pin. Sarah, you're getting a pin. People, we've got to send some pins out.
Yeah, I haven't gotten around to that yet. So if I promise to send you a pin, I swear I'm putting it in the mail this week.
No, we're going to do it. I'm 9 months pregnant, so you can use that as an excuse for anything.
And shout out to our New Zealand Bloomheads.
Hey, Bloomheads in New Zealand.
And everywhere else.
Our Kiwi Bloomheads.
Kiwi Bloomheads.
Woo!